Good afternoon. Good. Happy Friday. Let's see if we can get through all this information as quickly as possible. So after last week, after the last video, we started talking about all the different forms we can have for our place value. We have talked about what's called standard form. Standard form, that's just when we use numbers to write numbers, use digits to write numbers. Then this week, we started talking about expanded form. You guys probably remember expanded form as being, say, we have 348. You write it as 300 plus 40 plus 8. If you remember expanded form, that's probably what you remember. This works great for small numbers, but when you start getting into the hundred thousands, the millions, and beyond, I have found a method that helps a lot to break those down easily. So here's that method. We're going to go back to the place value chart that we've been talking about all along. They don't actually have to write the place value chart every time, but it needs to be in their head. So let's go ahead. We have our millions place. I'm going to group together all of the thousands. We have the 100,000s, the 10,000s, and the 1,000s. We have a comma between each of these groups. We call these groups periods, but it doesn't really matter if they know that they're called periods as long as they understand that they're grouped in groups of 3. And if we kept going with the millions, so 1 million, 10 million, 100 million, this would also be a group of 3, and they'd have a comma going to the billions. But we only, in 4th grade, have to worry about up to the 1 millions place. So I'm going to plug in some numbers here, or some digits. We have 7,645,123. In the past, I've tried to teach expanded form like this, and what always seems to happen is students will go, okay, well, there's a 7, and I think it's in the millions place, so I'm going to write 7 million. Yeah, that's a bunch of zeros. I think that's 7 million, and they'll do something like this, and they'll just throw some commas in there. They'll add it. They get 6. Okay, I think that might be 100,000, and throw some zeros in there. Put a comma somewhere. That works, and they'll go on like this, and they'll just the first digit of each number will be correct, but the rest of it, the zeros, the commas, none of it makes sense because they don't really have an understanding of it. So what I've started doing when I teach it to them is I'm showing them that you can take this and use the place value chart. We're going to start with our largest number, our largest place value. We have a 7 in the millions place. Right underneath that place, we're going to write a 7. And then the rest of these places, to write the value of this digit, which is 7 in the millions place, so it's 7 million, all we have to do is fill in all the other place values with a 0. And we have made our 7 million. After we've gotten the millions place, we move on to the next digit. We have 6 in the hundred thousands place. We go down in rows and keep them in rows. Of course, some students have issues with this, keeping it organized, but if you will just encourage your students to keep each one in a row, this will be so easy. So 6, we replace everything to the right of it with a 0. So then 600,000, 6 is in the hundred thousands place. They don't even technically have to know how many zeros go in it if they use this strategy. They just fill in each of the place values with a 0. And we go on, continuing. Commas are already in their places. We just have to put a new one in each row. We're to the hundreds place, tens place, and ones place. So now we know that 7,645,123 expanded into its place values is 7 million plus 600,000 plus 40,000 plus 5,000 plus 100 plus 20 plus 3. And if they want to write it out like this, they can, 7 million plus 600,000 and so on. But if they have it like this, I will be perfectly fine. If I see this on a test, great. They understand what they're doing there. So we just did some practice with that. We did some 3-digit numbers, some 4-digit numbers, 6-digit numbers. If you would like to practice with your child, this is a great way to help them with expanded form. After expanded form, we moved on to word form. Okay. I gave them a worksheet to practice this. This is from word form to standard form, but I gave them a cheat sheet because I'm sure you can believe it, but I have never imagined there could be so many ways for people to misspell these numbers. So I've given them a cheat sheet for them to use during class. They're not going to have this during the test, but their test will have a place value chart on it, such as this. So they should at least spell hundreds, tens, ones, millions, thousands. They should at least spell these words correctly. The other ones, I can take TIN for 10. That'll be fine. But these should be spelled correctly at least. But I've given them all the numbers they should need, all the spellings they should need to make anything up to 9,999,999. Once again, though, you can use the place value chart to solve this. So, for example, 427. Okay, we see 4, and it's in the hundreds place. So we write a 4 in the hundreds place. We have 27. That's 2 tens, 7 ones. Units, we can sometimes exchange units for ones when we're talking about them. It's the same thing. And I've tried to point out to the students, if you see units, it's often talking about ones until we get to fractions, but that's a whole different story. That's a whole different video. 16,000. So I've been telling them, you know, if you just saw 16, we would write it over here. 16 is just written with a 1 and a 6. But it's not over here because it's in the thousands place. So we are going to take this 16 and move it to the thousands. We have our ones, our tens, and our hundreds over here. Ones, tens, hundreds. And we have ones, tens, hundreds, but this group is times 1,000. And so instead of just writing 16 over here, since it's 16,000, we are going to start in the 10,000s place instead of the tens place. Then everything that's to the right of that, we have our commas here and here. Everything to the right of that, we just fill in with a 0 because there is no 100 or 10 or 1 in this number. A couple more examples. 409,000. Look for the 409. We would write that as 409 if it was just 409, but then it's thousands, so we put it in the thousands place. 409, not over here, but here, starting in the hundred thousands place. 409, comma, fill in the rest with zeros. 105,202. Okay, we're skipping some things, but still the same thing. 105, 202. Okay, that's literally it. 105 in the thousands place. And then 202, just like you would write it regularly. 7,062,000. This one's a little complicated because there's lots of zeros, but if they understand that 7, they're going to use the digit 7, and it's going to go in the millions place, they're already on the good, a good track. Good start. 7 in the millions place. We have a comma here, so there's going to be a comma here. 62. We don't see the word thousand anywhere. We don't see hundred anywhere. So 62 is just going to be 62 right here. Everything else can be filled in with a 0. We have 7,062,000. 574,008. 574, think of that as just 574, but we know it's in the thousands, so we find our 100,000s. 574, comma. There's no 100, there's no 10, so 0, 0, 8 is in the ones place. 7,032,000. 7, again, in the millions place. Go ahead and get your comma. 32,000. So here, we have 32, so there you go, just write 32 like regular. But it's in the thousands, so this one may be a little complicated because there's no 100, so they need to know to skip that. There's no 100,000, so 0 goes there. 32 here. And there's no 100, 10, or 1 afterwards, so we fill them all in with zeros. So we used this as a practice sheet, and most of these follow the same patterns as these others. So this is something we've been working on in class. I did not send it home with them, but this is the main idea of how they would use that. So if you want to make your own examples at home to help your child practice, feel free to do so. Okay, let's see. We got notes, we did the worksheet. All right. Yes. So I gave them this today. This is their study guide. There were a couple things we had to change. For example, we had to get rid of the 100 millions and 10 millions place because we don't need that in 4th grade. But other than that, this is just the same exact place value chart. We have our thousands period, our ones period, and our millions period. We have ones, tens, hundreds, and one tens, hundreds, but we only go to the ones. we can do all of these problems throughout the whole thing using this place value chart. I'm going to try and go through this as quickly as possible. We worked through this together, but we only got to do at least maybe just one from each section. The tests will be a lot like this. It's going to be on Tuesday. Have them, oh, my battery is about to die. Give me, how long do I have? I need to plug in my computer. Hold that thought. And we're back in business. I appreciate you all putting up with these highly professional videos I'm making. All right, let's get through it. Standard form to word form. This means we're going from numbers to words. And like I said, I'm not going to grade for spelling, except I may count off if, 100 is misspelled, or 1,000, or million, or 1, because it's on here, or 10. But 236,058. What I had them do during class was take this number and transfer it up to here. So if they wanted to work backwards and start with the ones and go up to whatever the highest number was, they can do that. So let's do that. Or they could just, if they knew where to start, they can go ahead and put it where it goes. But in this case, we have 236,058. We don't have anything in the millions place, but we have a 2. So we have 2, and we know it's 200,000. They just follow up where it is, 200,000. And you can write 2, T-W-O, 100, because it's right there in front of us. 1,000 right in front of us, except now I've gotten off track. We don't write 200,000 because actually we need to read this as a whole group, right? So 236,000, but 236. T-H-I-R-T-Y. I told them if they have a T-Y and then another number following, they need to have a hyphen between those. 236,000. There's nothing in the hundreds place, so we don't have to use the word hundred in this one, but we do have 58. And they just kind of need to do their best job here. I had some people spell it F-I-T-Y, so we had 58, which is fine, but let's try to get the F where it goes. So 50, F-I-F-T-Y hyphen 8, E-I-G-H-T. So that's what they would do there. Same thing here. They can erase. They should be using pencil, not pen, because we need to be erasing. We will make mistakes in math, but we can learn from those mistakes. That's our whole goal with our mistakes, is to learn from them. So we fill in the next one. We have 4087,421. Still got the commas in the same place, but now we have 4 in the 1 millions place. So that's 4 times a million, or 4 million. F-O-U-R. Million is there for us, so we should be able to spell it. There's a comma after where the 4 million is, so we're going to put a comma here in the number as well, in our word form. 4 million, comma, then we have no hundreds, we have 87. So spell out 87, making sure to put a hyphen. It's in the thousands period, so 1,000. 4,087,000. I've done this 4 times today, so I apologize for the horrible handwriting, but you get the idea. And then we end up with 421. Putting the hyphen between 20 and 1. Okay, that is standard form to word form. We have word form to standard form. So this is just the opposite of that. But we can still use the place value chart here to help us with this. If we have 7, they should know the digit 7 is spelled like that, S-E-V-E-N. They should know to use the digit 7. And where do you put the 7? Well, we put it in that millions place, so 7 in the millions. 391, we know how to write that. Where do we put it? Well, it tells us thousands, so 391. We have 7,391,000, and then 333. Well, 333 is just 333, and there's no thousand after it, so we're going to go ahead and put it in the hundreds or the ones place. Once we have that written up there, we are pretty positive it's right, we can rewrite it in the box here. Sorry, I had a phone call. So we have 7 million, then 391,000, which we wrote up here, and then 333. Okay, so we just copy it down here just as we had it up in the top. We do the same thing for the other numbers and fill it in. 5 goes in the millions place because 5 million. 200,000, we would write 200 as 200. It would be in the thousands place, thousands period. But then the 8, this part is confusing to people sometimes just because of the zeros. People often won't put the zeros, but we have to put the zeros. The zeros are so important because they tell us what place value each number is in, or each digit is in. As I talked about last week, if somebody comes up to you and they say, hey, this is, they write 7 and they put a dollar sign, we think that's $7. And then if you get to the cash register and somebody says, well, that'll be $70, you say no, because there's no zero here telling us that that's in the tens place. This is 70. The other one was just 7. So we need to remember that the zeros tell us what place value, and this place value chart can help us to remember where to put those. So 5 million, 5 in the millions place, 200 goes in the thousands, and then we have 8. It's not 800, it's not 80, it's just 8. So the hundreds is a 0, the tens is a 0, and 8 goes here. So we have 5,200,008, and I can copy that down here. 5,200,008. I told them today, if this is on your test, please use it. If I give you a tool, please use it. I don't imagine if I gave you a bunch of lumber, I gave you a hammer, some nails, screwdrivers, screws, all the power tools that you need to build a house, and you say, no, I'm good, and you go out in the forest and grab some sticks and mud and try to make a house, that's just silly. So if I give them this on their test, I want to see them use it. Be sure you emphasize that with them. All right, back to standard form to expanded form. We're going to do these just like we did the other ones with our notes. I told them they could write on the back of their page, so we are going to transfer these, and I want them to write on the back if they do that. We're going to do that with both of these. 980,529. That's number 5, I believe. Yes. So then we go to each place value, we write it underneath, and we fill in with the zeros. Quick and easy. This one we don't even have to write. We could write 0,000, but if we write 0,000 or we just write nothing, that's the same thing. So we're going to skip it. 529. So we have 900,000 plus 80,000 plus 500 plus 20 plus 9. Same thing with number 6. 7,888,456. Start with the highest place value. Fill in to the right. Go to the next place value. Next place value. Next. See, this one could have been really confusing with all those 8s had they tried to write it horizontally rather than vertically. But if we line them all up, we see what we have already put and what we have not put yet. And it should make a nice triangular shape when they have done it correctly. All right. I told them if they have this and they tell me it's on the back, they don't have to rewrite it on the front, but I just need to know that it's on the back and which one goes with which. And lastly, expanded form to standard form. This, honestly, I would recommend that they actually write this out. I don't think they have learned standard form of addition yet, but you guys are probably used to, we would actually take 6 million plus 700,000 plus 70,000, and we would line it up just like this, and you'd see that triangular shape again. We will be learning standard form here in a few weeks, but if we add these up, we just see we have 5 here. We have 1, 2, 7, 7, 7, and 6, and we put our commas where they go. We have 6,777,215, and we also can, if we didn't add it up like this, we could just look at the first digit of each number and put them together in order. Only thing you have to watch out for is, like number 8, we have 9 million, but then there's no 100,000. So they would need to know, 9 million, put your comma. There's no 100,000, so they would need a 0 in the 100,000s place. 50,000 plus 4,000 will give us 54,000. And then we have 100 plus 10 plus 1 gives us 111. 111. So 9,054,111. I believe that's all we really went through this week. We were doing iReady, so that was about all we got through. If you have any questions on any of this, don't hesitate to reach out. I can't promise I'll answer over the weekend, but hope these videos are helping. Sorry for the length of this one. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you guys next time.